Hey, what's going on, Vish? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
All right,
Yeah,
awesome,
I can hear you.
awesome. All right, perfect, man. Thanks for anybody. As you can hear in the background, obviously we're everywhere today on this Memorial Day, but appreciate you guys coming on with us to talk a little Canes baseball as the looks like the regional draws have finally finished up, and some interesting stuff happened. I think in the round in all 64 for all 64 teams. Some of the teams that were in, some of the teams that were out. I think that overall, though, I think the Canes look like they got a decent draw there. Couple of hot teams in the draw. You know, Arizona, not a bad baseball team. Ole Miss was actually one of the last four in. And then Canisius, I really don't know much about. So maybe you can kind of speak a little bit about the four that got the three that got drawn with us there, Vish.
Yeah, well, let me go ahead and see if I can do this. Weird. Hold on, I am like not in my home base right now, so trying to see if this. Yeah, it's not letting me. I was gonna share the draw, but it's not having it. so yeah, we got Arizona as 2, Ole Miss is 3, and Canisius is 4. So yeah, Ole Miss is definitely the most controversial selection in probably in the entire tournament. They
Right.
had a losing record in the SEC, and then because of that, they had to do like a play-in game in the SEC tournament, which they lost. So they haven't played in like a week now. So everyone was like, "There's no way this team is making it," and they made it in. So that they were definitely a surprise. But like you said, they play in a power conference. Like it's not going to be. they're equivalent to some of the teams we've been losing to. Like if you think about like NC State's probably the biggest snub. They had a top 30 RPI, made the ACC championship game, and got snubbed basically for Ole Miss. Well, NC State just beat us. So you know that's that caliber team. So they're not going to be easy. I think the one thing Canisius sucks, and I did look into them a little bit. As you said, I didn't know anything about them. They won their conference tournaments, the MAC, so MAAC, not MAC, and they're an automatic bid. So their RPIs in the mid 100s. That's a huge advantage for us because we'll get into this a little bit probably, but not throw Palmquist is going to be a big one there.
Right. Yeah, I think that was obviously the question there is who do we start with, and we'll definitely get into that. I found it interesting with Ole Miss, and I think that, and they did kind of allude to this in the show if anybody saw it, but they did have a losing record in the SEC, but they did win 2 series against 2 teams. One who is hosting in Auburn, and they did win a series against LSU. Both made the tournament. So that's what they said basically. That 4 out of the 10 series that they won in the league, 2 of them were against teams that hosted. Well, one hosting, the other one's a 2 seed, if I'm not mistaken, in another region, and then the other 2 probably against lesser teams as well. The one I was most, and it has nothing to do with our region, but that I was kind of surprised at how, a down year that they had was Vanderbilt. I know they still made the tournament, but I think they're coming in as a 3 seed, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the regions. So that was interesting to see. But overall, I think the committee got it right for the most part, with the exception of maybe NC State getting snubbed. I think
there was a couple of, and Aaron Fitt, who I think if you follow college baseball, you know who he is, covers for D1 baseball. He was pointing out that the 2 teams that pretty clearly got kind of snubbed were Rutgers, who had like a high RPI, and
that Rutgers is another one.
Yeah, and NC State, and those are 2 conferences of the Big Ten, the ACC, which do not have committee members, and I think that did play a role in it. There was no one advocating for them, and they got screwed essentially. Like Ole Miss shouldn't. I mean, I'm gonna eat these words if they knock us out, but they shouldn't be here. And so, but you know, it is what it is at this point. Fortunately, we played well enough where, I mean, I thought we were dicey for a national seed and coming in as the 6th. It was weird. There wasn't really a lot of consistency. Like UNC went 500 in the ACC, played themselves all the way into a host just by basically winning the conference tournament.
Well, they went 15-2 the last 17 games.
Down the stretch, but the numbers still weren't there until they win the conference tournament. Which, fair play to them. That's 4 tough. You know, if you're winning, the ACC was ridiculous this year. So if you win that tournament and go undefeated in it, like you won 4 big time games. But so they got rewarded for that, which I think is totally fair. But then NC State got zero reward for making it to the final and losing to them there. It's kind of like there's zero consistency. And we got lucky by that lack of consistency because, Notre Dame did well in the ACC tournament and they didn't even get to host. And they ignored the fact that we played awful. We got mercy ruled and still gave us the national seed. So, I think we got a favorable overall draw. I don't like having two power conference teams in our region just because one of the things you'd like in these matchups is as Jazz gets food, I'm assuming, but one of the things you like in these matchups, which you hope is the opposing pitchers not used to seeing Power 5 hitters and vice versa. They're not used to seeing your pitch like Ole Miss, Arizona. They're not going to have any issues like adjusting to having to face top level pitching. They do it week in, week out, so that you don't have that benefit. I will say the other side, looking across and aligned to Southern Miss, I like that. Like that was out of because at the end they hadn't done Auburn's region and Southern Miss's, and then we got Southern Miss. I definitely prefer that to Auburn. LSU's out there, which obviously is a big time program, but that I think overall you look at our 8 teams we need to get through to get to Omaha. You can't really complain.
Who are some of the teams in the other region?
So it's hold on. I do have it up. Just won't let me share it. Army, Southern Miss, LSU, and Kennesaw State. So Southern Miss is the host.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
I don't know why I said Mississippi State earlier. It was Southern Miss.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mississippi State did not make it. Defending champs did not make the tournament, which is weird because they beat
crazy?
2 out of 3.
Yeah.
They took 2 or 3 from Ole Miss. Like they had been. Ole Miss is not playing well down the stretch either. It was really surprising they got it. And they lost their last series. Like they hosted A&M in the last series, and everyone's like, they got to win that to get in. They lost it, and then they bounced out in the first game of the SEC tournament. And everyone's like, well, that's it. And
yeah,
apparently
so
not.
Apparently
not.
Yeah.
Apparently not. So, but again, there's a talented team. They're playing a power conference, so it's not like they're going to be easy.
How do you feel about Arizona though in the region coming down? And playing us? I think it's a long trek for them, right?
It is a long trip for them. If I'm Ole Miss, I'm liking that matchup because that's probably going to be the early game on Friday, and you got a team like playing at like 10 a.m. their time or whatever. It's not going to be in Miami heat. Not necessarily great for them. So if I'm Ole Miss, I'm liking that. I think if we play that, hopefully we beat Canisius, and then or is it Canisius? I don't even know how to say this thing, but if we beat them, it'll be the night game on Saturday, that's the money game. That's the one you want Palmquist in, and that's the one you got to win. You got to win those first 2 games. That's how you get out of the regional.
So the first game is Canisius, right after whatever Ole Miss.
Well, we dictate the schedule,
and then they play again Friday night, or how does that work?
No. So it's well, I mean, first of all, the weather looks terrible for next weekend, so we'll probably be dodging rain delays all weekend. But it is what it is Friday is the first 2 games, so each team plays a game, and then that's when you split up into winners bracket and loser bracket. So so we'll play Canisius on Friday, and Arizona and Ole Miss will play, and then the winners play the second game on Saturday, with the losers playing the first game, and whoever loses that's out. So if you get those first 2 wins, you're then all the way in the winners bracket. Someone has to beat you twice to knock you out after playing out of the losers bracket.
Gotcha.
So it's really the first. The goal is to win the first. Well, obviously, it's to win 3 games to get out of the region, but the first 2 games gives you a huge advantage. Getting Canisius in that first game, I hate to say it, that's an easy one. You got to win that with without Palmquist, and then you get your ace. And Arizona and Ole Miss are gonna have to throw their top pitcher on Friday, so we should have a huge advantage.
I think that's before we wrap this up. I think we definitely should talk about that, right? So pitching matchups, pitching wise, obviously the rotation has been a little bit of a question mark recently. Carson Ligon not pitching his best in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, our number 3 guy is up in the air right now, which we'll definitely get into that. We all know Carson Palmquist is our horse, right? So yeah. I think you save him for, game 2 potentially, depending on who we play, maybe even game 3, right? So I think that that's something you can play with. I think what's most important is, Vish, who do you see them throwing Friday against Canisius? Do you see them going with Alejandro Rosario, or maybe they kind of switch it up and go Jake Garland, Alex McFarland? Is everybody kind of available for that game?
I think they're going to throw Ligon.
Okay.
That's a typical JD Arteaga and perfect timing. We're just answering this question now. I think generally, so it's the first. You would definitely not hold Palmquist for the third game. You got to win those first two, because the other team has to win like 5 games to knock you out. Then, because they got to go all the way through the losers bracket, where you just play less games if you win the first two. And given our pitching depth, you definitely need that. So, Palmquist definitely goes on Saturday. So Friday, like you said, Ligon, he's a freshman. We've seen freshmen kind of lose their arm at the end of the year as they, adjust to college ball. He might be there, but typically, JD Arteaga is always number 2 pitcher goes Friday, number 1 pitcher goes Saturday, and I think we'll do that. If it was me, I would throw Garland, to be honest, just because he'll hit the zone, and that they might score some runs off him. He gives up a lot of hits, but they're usually on the ground, and frankly, if you can't light up Canisius, you're not going anywhere. So I'd rather have Rosario, McFarland, Ligon, and Palmquist for the rest of the week. I think we can get away with Garland there. And I don't think his stuff is good enough to throw against Arizona or Ole Miss. So where I think McFarland's got great stuff, Rosario's got great stuff. Ligon, if his arm is okay, has got great stuff. You can throw them.
Ronaldo Gallo, who can throw a couple innings as well.
Yeah, so you can use those guys against Arizona and Ole Miss. You cannot use Garland against those teams. He does not have good enough stuff. He'll get raked. So I think that's why I would throw him on Friday, but I don't think they will. It's a risk to throw him on Friday, right? You don't want to just throw
it is. It still is. So here's what I think, right? I think it's going to be important for us to completely rake on Friday because of the struggles that we've had recently, whether it's been on the mound or hitting. We've had some struggles in the past couple of weeks. So I think it's going to be important for us to get that first game and score some runs, hit the ball really well, pitch decently, but to kind of get the confidence up for some of these hitters, right? Because at the end of the day, that's really where it's going to be important, because this is college baseball, man, and no lead is safe, regardless of who you're playing. So I think it's going to be important to really start to score some runs, and put a lot, actually, not only score some runs, but put a lot of runs on the scoreboard, specifically on that Friday night game or Friday afternoon, whatever it is, and build up that confidence for those guys.
Yeah, it's important to win that game comfortably, so you don't have to use your bullpen out.
Did I freeze?
You freeze and came back, and froze and come back again. But it is important also to just win big, so that way you don't have to use your bullpen. If you have to go to Walters and Gallo on Friday, because we gotta win several games over the weekend. So that Canisius is the low hanging fruit. You got to go in there and beat them easily without using your bullpen, and I'll set you up to. Because even last year, UF was the host. They lost their first game, and we won our first game. We won it 1-0, and we had to Palmquist was the closer at the time. We had to use him in that game, and it didn't set us up well for the rest of the weekend. And really, that's the easiest game we're gonna play the rest of the season. So you just gotta crush them and not use up your bullpen or your top end pitchers.
Here's a question I have for you, Vish, because I think it's an important question. There's been a couple of positions now where we've had some injuries, and the guys that were playing the position early on in the season were actually playing really well, but they got hurt. And I'm mentioning specifically Dorian Gonzalez at second base, and also in the outfield, Eduardo Villegas. 2 guys that started off the season. Villegas had a pretty good season until he got injured. Dorian, the same kind of thing, right? Was hitting the ball well for a freshman. Both those guys got injured. You had Ariel Garcia step up. Henry Wallen stepped up for a little bit as well. But you really saw kind of Garcia kind of get, grow into his own and become a solid player. Same thing in the outfield, right? You saw Zach Levinson you can put out there. You've got Gabby Gutierrez who ended up hitting really well towards the end of the season. What do you do at those 2 positions now? Do you kind of go with the hot guys, for instance? Do you keep Garcia in the lineup? Do you still put Dorian Gonzalez back in there, maybe DH Garcia? What do you do there? And then in the outfield, do you kind of stick with Gabby, or do you bring in Villegas again and kind of mix and match there?
So I think in that, let's take the first. I think Garcia should just be the DH. Like Gino is like so tied to lefty righty matchups. He's only playing against lefties right now, and I don't like that. Frankly, he should be playing more. He was knocking the cover off the ball and just not. It was kind of bizarre that he was like, oh, he's out of the lineup. He homered twice in the last game. What's happening? And so I think he's hot right now. So I'd like to just get him at bats because baseball's a lot about that, right? Who's hitting well right now? Villegas came back from injury last week. Didn't look great. I would keep Dorian out there, frankly, right now. Even though Villegas probably has more top end potential, it's so. Maybe Canisius, you mess with it because again, but if he doesn't, maybe give Villegas the start and see what he does. The one thing, Romero has to just catch every game. Like we can't have Perez.
Oh yeah, that's not even.
And we have been.
That's not even a doubt.
And that's kind of. But well, I mean, he's been getting playing time at catcher. Sometimes it's just you can't catch every game. I get that, but that has been problematic because he's just not been able to.
That takes a potential. Yeah, it takes a bat out of the lineup for sure.
Yeah, so that's in. And if Romero can't go, I'm honestly, I don't know that I would go to Perez anyway at this point.
Yeah, I might go with JD Jones instead.
Yeah, just give it a shot there at this point. Yeah. But overall, I will say the draw is favorable all the way through, and this is on our home field, which whether or not based on the way we played the last couple of months we deserve that, I don't know, but it came. It's right there in front of us now. So just to go take care of business.
But we got it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully, it's like you said, it's a solid draw for the Canes. They play well at home. They play a lot better at home. And if they can get that first game out of the way, score some runs, and get some momentum, I think it'll be a nice playoff run for the Canes. And hopefully, we can just we can take it over to take it and we'll see each other in Omaha there.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to get a better draw than this to kind of to get to Omaha. So.
I agree. Vish, man, this was fun. We'll definitely keep it locked and follow all throughout. Hopefully, we'll be there. I'll be there this weekend. I won't be able to make it on Friday, but I'll make it on Saturday and potentially Sunday. And
the thing with the Friday, especially, like obviously, like people, Jazz and I have jobs, so that's always a tough one to begin with. But then like TV dictates a lot of like when they put that. So obviously, we would love to play at night, but that might actually be during the day if they're like put it on at noon and 3. Like we've done day regionals before because that's when they
Yep, I've been to them. I know it.
Yep. So we don't know what time any of that's going to be at yet. But we'll definitely chat about more. We'll dig in a little bit to Arizona, Ole Miss here, and definitely Canisius because I know nothing about them. And yeah, maybe we'll spend some time on this on Wednesday's show as well, since that's what's going on.
So we got special guest John Michaels on the show on Wednesday, and Larry Bluestein also. So make sure you guys keep it locked there. We got a really good show on Wednesday night. But follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes. Make sure you follow us on YouTube as well. Just search for 5 Reasons Sports Network. Subscribe, smash the like button, and check us out on 6 Rings Canes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. as well. This was fun, and hopefully the Canes do some damage and get to Omaha, man. We'll see you guys on Wednesday night.